Okay, let's just dive right in. I think we've all seen it, right? Maybe we've even done it. That moment when living your life kind of takes a backseat to documenting your life. Today we're going to explore why so much of our lives are becoming a performance for an online audience and what we might be losing along the way. Wow. This quote, it just hits you, doesn't it? It perfectly captures this feeling that the very act of constantly taking photos, of framing every single moment for someone else, might actually be separating us from the experience itself. It really sets the stage for everything we're about to unpack. So let's start with what this actually looks like out in the real world. We're going to look at some scenes that are probably all too familiar, where life seems to be lived, not for the person in the moment, but for the viewers on the other side of a screen. I mean, does any of this ring a bell? You're out trying to have a nice dinner, and the table next to you is doing a full-on photo shoot, their food just getting cold while they try to find the perfect angle. Or, maybe you've seen someone literally block a busy sidewalk just to get that one shot, and the smile just vanishes the second the camera goes down. See, this isn't just about taking a picture anymore, it's about staging a performance. And this is how it changes things like travel, isn't it? It becomes this kind of social media pilgrimage. You go to a famous spot not just to see it, but to prove you were there. The whole experience gets boiled down to these four steps, and you really have to wonder, where in this whole process is the actual, genuine enjoyment of the place you traveled so far to see? Okay, so we've seen what it looks like from the outside, the actions. But what's going on inside? This is where things get really interesting as we start to explore that growing gap between the life we project online and the reality we're actually living. And that leads us to this really direct, really powerful question. After all the effort, the posing, the editing, the posting, what's the feeling that's left behind? Is it fulfillment, or is it something a little hollow? And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? We create these two separate selves. You've got the online you with the perfect smile and that amazing, lavish lifestyle. And then there's the real you, where that smile disappears the second the photo is taken, and all those friends you're supposed to be surrounded by are just silently staring at their own phones at the table. This really gets to the heart of it. This is the core conflict of that whole Instagram versus reality thing. You have this visual perfection online that's masking a potential emotional deficit in the real world. So, believe it or not, there's actually a name for this whole phenomenon: photocentrism. It's this fundamental shift in what we prioritize, where the main goal of doing something, hiking a mountain, trying a new restaurant, is simply to get the photo. The experience itself kind of becomes secondary to the evidence of the experience. But why? Why do we do this? It's not just about vanity. It's actually rooted in a really deep and very human desire. We all want to matter. In a world where so many lives are lived out loud and in public, there's this intense pressure to prove that our life is significant, that we're creating memories worth remembering. Which brings us to our final section here. If a life lived purely for the camera starts to feel empty, then what's the alternative? Let's explore a totally different way of thinking about what truly gives our lives value. Now, this is such a simple idea, but it's also incredibly profound. Just think about it for a second. The inside jokes, the quiet moments of comfort, the genuine unposed laughter. So often, the richest, best parts of our lives happen when the camera is put away. And you know what? Maybe that's the whole point. Maybe the very fact that these moments aren't for public consumption, that they're not being performed for an audience, is exactly what makes them so authentic. Their value is just for you and you alone. And that leaves us with this final and I think crucial question. It's a challenge, really, for all of us. If you stripped away the audience, the likes, the comments, and you were just left with the life you were actually living from one moment to the next, is that a life you would still love? That's definitely something to think about long after this is over.